Welcome back, everybody. In this video, we're going to put the spotlight on a bunch of hot topics all across the world of MMA. Most notably, we'll be talking about Israel Adesanya's retirement plan and the upcoming fight between Jon Jones and Ciryl Gane. Israel Adesanya, the last stylebender, was seen inside the octagon at UFC 221 in February 2018. 5 years later, Stylebender has established himself as one of the greatest middleweight competitors of all time. He has beaten almost every opponent he has come across in the middleweight division except one. Yes, we're talking about his longtime rival, Alex Pereira. These two have had 3 different meetings across 2 different sports, and Adesanya is yet to solve the puzzle that is Pereira, but he'll get another crack at it in UFC 287's main event. And while he gets into one of the biggest fights of his life on April 8th at UFC 285, the fans are sad to learn that it could be one of Adesanya's last performances based on comments he made backstage at last weekend's UFC event in Australia. Adesanya said,
"Okay, so I've been in the UFC 5 years, right? If I'm being honest, I'm not gonna be here in 5 years. I have other things to do in life. But I never attach myself to this, and I'm gonna leave on top. So, yeah, that's the best way I feel like you should leave. But again, I've been here 5 years in the UFC. It went like that."
He made it clear that he wants to end on top, implying that he has to beat Alex Pereira at any cost in his next fight. He made it clear that he is going to be getting the belt he has defended 8 times. Adesanya also said, "I got the opportunity to claim it back, but I'm going to stay less and do more. After this fight, I bet you he's going to move to 205. So this is my shot, and this is why I'm putting everything into this. This is part of my story." Adesanya added, "I love this shit, and I'm fucking great at it, but I never attach myself to this, and I'm gonna leave on top. So yeah, that's the best way I feel like you should leave. But again, I've been here 5 years in the UFC, it went like that. And we'll see how long I'm here for, but I don't think it's gonna be 5 years." Israel Adesanya is already about to turn 34, so it's not really unreasonable to think that he will be out of the UFC within the next 5 years because he'll be around 40 by then. Fans, on the other hand, think it's not really a matter of 5 years. It's all about whether Adesanya is going to win against Alex Pereira, and many of them think that he is around barely for another year. One fan wrote, "Personally, I think Izzy is gone after this year. In my opinion, the UFC is not what it used to be, and Dana, no, it's not better." One says, "Calling it now, he will never win another fight. He'll retire by the end of next year." Another wrote, "Well, he's 33, gonna be 34 this year, so yeah, he won't be fighting in 5 years, just like every other fighter his age." One of them wrote this, "If he loses to Alex again, he retires." There are some people who think Israel Adesanya should have retired a year ago, as he wrote, "If he wanted to retire on top, he should have retired a year ago." While Adesanya plans to retire, Francis Ngannou has already retired from the UFC. And some fans, along with Adesanya himself, think that the UFC has changed, which is why the big fighters are within their rights to retire. While talking to the press at UFC 284, Israel Adesanya said the demands made by Ngannou were not unreasonable at all, and that the UFC should have met those demands. He said,
"He's not being a diva. He's asking for reasonable demands, and I felt like he should have got them. But he told me, I said that's not how we do business. But the way we do business has to change, and it will change. He's just the guy to kick in the door."
Francis made the right call. He's the one that kicked that door in. We've all been behind him, and we've been saying this for how long? If you guys go back on the tapes, I've been saying the same thing. I'm not going to harp on about it, but he's right, it's the little things. He's asking for things that should be mandatory. Adesanya added,
"He's right, it's little things, he's asking for things that should be mandatory. He wasn't asking for, crazy, ridiculous, diva-ish demands,
There's something as little for the guys fighting on the opening bouts, having the 4th or 3rd corner man being paid for, and the hotel is being paid for. That sets them up nicely, and they don't have to fork it out of their money. $10,000 and $10,000, or maybe even another $10,000 to pay for their 4th or 3rd corner man. Little things like that. Since Francis Ngannou has parted ways with the UFC, Jon Jones will lock horns with Ciryl Gane at UFC 285 when they fight for the vacant title. When Gane first came on the scene, he looked untouchable in his MMA career until he ran into Ngannou, who used a grapple-heavy approach to stake down and defeat Gane. Robert Whittaker thinks that Jon Jones could very much use the same tactics and take down Gane. Whittaker told Fox Sports Australia, "Jon Jones is going to take down and lay on him and just finish him there. Jones' wrestling is next caliber. Nobody comes close to what Jon Jones can produce in the octagon, and this is my opinion." Whittaker added, "If you look at his statistics, he can take people down with ease. He can grapple them with ease. He can strike with the best of them. He's got cardio and strength and power and height and physique. He has it all. And Jones probably has the highest IQ in the game. He can see a weakness and he'll exploit it." Whittaker seems to think that Jon Jones is the best fighter produced by the UFC. As he has said, Jon Jones is the best of all time, pound for pound greatest of all time. What he did to his opponents and to the division, and as a champion, nobody has come close to that level of supremacy and domination. He's a freak of nature. The man who is often touted as the greatest fighter of all time is about to make his long-awaited debut in the heavyweight division after over 3 years away from the sport. This fight is compelling, and the reason behind that is, of course, Jon Jones. The fans are eager to see how the dynastic light heavyweight champion who vacated the belt in 2020 to move up a division will fare in the UFC's heavyweight class. Jon Jones is making a comeback against a worthy opponent in Ciryl Gane, so it's not going to be a walk in the park for him. What do the odd makers say so far? Well, the odd makers are leaning towards Jones, but he's only a -150 favorite per DraftKings, which reflects the competitive and unpredictable nature of this matchup. Fans wanted to see Francis Ngannou versus Jon Jones fight, but that was not made possible. And it might not be what the fans wanted, but this fight is definitely something to look forward to. Gane has made it abundantly clear to Jon Jones that he is going to be an even tougher opponent for him than Francis Ngannou. Gane said, "I know I've got good footwork at first, and I think I'm a little bit more well-rounded. I look a little bit more like Jon Jones. Yes, when you have a big guy that just wants to kill you with one punch, it's more easier for a guy well-rounded and smart like Jon Jones to manage the situation. Me, also, I'm not like that. I like to manage the situation. It's going to be really good." Gane also said that he has got a lot of respect for Jon Jones, as he said, "More when I started MMA because I'm a fan of every sport in MMA. When you look at a guy like Jon Jones who's well-rounded like this, you really appreciate it. He's the GOAT. Look at his career." Daniel Cormier also thinks that Jones has a tough opponent in Ciryl Gane, as he said, "Let's not go crazy and act as if Jon Jones hasn't seen power before. He's seen power, nothing like the power of Ngannou, but I believe that what he has now may be more of a difficult style matchup in Ciryl Gane. Let's see who turns out to be a better fighter on the day."